we're going to be talking about, hi, we're going to be talking about boundaries today. We're going to be talking about boundaries this month, so off and on. But I had a couple questions that I thought I would share with everyone today. I don't expect this to be a long live, but maybe a fun one. So I had a client say to me, you know, I had to set boundaries with my brother, so I had to tell him what I thought of him and really force him to see if he was going to follow through with his threats. It's like, well, there's a definition of boundaries. Like, okay, so what are boundaries? How is it that everybody has kind of their own definition of boundaries and what it is they need to do to set them? And I thought, I ask my clients when they say they have to set boundaries what that means to them, and oftentimes they really don't know. they like, I don't know. They can't define it themselves. And really in Life Mastery, we don't define boundaries as much as working from the inside out, when boundaries tend to work from the outside in. So I thought, okay, let me just look on Google and see what everybody is looking at with this, concept of setting boundaries. And so I did, and I read things that told us in what situations what to say, and if you're doing this, this is how you should do it, and all of these expectations set for various areas of your life and various things you should be saying in order to have these healthy boundaries. And I thought to myself, well, that would drive me crazy. Like, how does somebody remember everything that they're supposed to be saying and doing and setting? Because if you're looking on Google for these answers, that's what you're getting, right? But that's not life. Now we're trying to do what everybody wants us to do, so now we're more cluttered, right? Where are we in all of this clutter of say no to this and say yes to that, and don't be too kind over here, and don't please that one over there, and it's like, but what if I want to, right? If you joined me last week, I used the example of a massage. Some people can come in while I'm having a massage. One woman can come in when I'm having a massage because she takes care of my pets. The others no. How do you set that kind of a boundary on Google and teach people how to do that? And certainly, my friend's idea of setting a boundary by, really getting aggressive and in the face with an aggressive brother that's his idea and understanding of how to set a boundary. So there really is no understanding. It's all of these expectations that continue to float around, very vague, very lame. Like, I think that we all need to be able to take care of ourselves. So what is healthy? Healthy is your happiness and comfortability. It's that place of joy within you. And it is all within you, because this life is within you. And so as you start to really feel that comfort in yourself, you're starting to define that experience inside yourself that brings you that happiness and that comfort. And it's in that experience that we really start to believe in our own life as being what it can be and what it is. And it's from that point that we say, yeah, no, I don't really want to do that. No, I'm not going to be able to help you on that today, because we know what it is we wish to do. And there are going to be times that we say, absolutely, I will give you my whole weekend because I really believe in what you're doing and I want to do that. But there's no standard across the board. There are going to be times that I get great joy out of pleasing someone, and there are going to be times that I'm sorry to disappoint you. I have to be true to myself. So how do we really put all of this into a definition? We start with us, right? And so when I was talking to someone who had a couple questions about this, it is about knowing what it is you wish to experience. Because once you know that and you really believe that you can have the experiences you wish to have, then everybody has to kind of fall into that. Not in a forced way. No, it's just in a, this is me, this is where I'm at kind of way. Now all of a sudden, we've got one point of reference, and that's you or me, right? Not 15 in 15 different areas of our crazy, busy lives, trying to figure out what I say here, what I do here, what makes this healthy, what makes this unhealthy. All of a sudden, we're just thinking of self, okay? What is it that I wish to experience right now? And while that may not be comfortable for the person to my right, it is certainly comfortable for me if I am aware of me and what I wish to experience. So we're narrowing down the playing field. In life mastery or self mastery, we're knowing ourselves. We're knowing what it is we wish to experience. And that takes getting to know ourselves and then trusting and believing in ourselves. So it takes a little bit more work. And in the meantime, there are ways and tools that you can use. But if you're just following somebody else's script, you're now creating a greater separation from that self within, and it's making it a little more difficult for you to explore yourself. So if you're told to say no when you said yes, ask yourself why you said yes. What was uncomfortable about saying no? And if you can understand that within yourself, then what you were told gave you some information as to what to look at inside you, but it's not a rule that you have to follow. You want to I hate to say get rid of rules, but you want to live freely. And freely is moving on the in-between of all of these rules and these expectations and these assumptions that are put upon us in at least this culture, but in this lifetime. And so I offer you the opportunity to look at what we're really doing. Let's go back to the friend of mine who thought that an aggressive standoff was a way of setting boundaries. And in his mind it was, because he was letting his brother know that he wasn't going to take any more of his bullying. But isn't there another way? If I know that I'm done with your bullying, and if I know that that's not who I am, or I'm done with you having these aggressive, hateful conversations with me, right? I'm going to say this is not fun for me, and I don't want to participate in this any longer. I had to say that to someone very close to me in the last several months, and they kept pushing a conversation that I really didn't want to have. And I just had to say, this just isn't fun for me. I appreciate your views. I really respect what you have to say. And I've listened, but I'm not interested in engaging in this debatical kind of angry conversation over this topic. And so I backed out of it. And the same can happen in family if there's more of a physically aggressive stance. I don't know what makes you feel you need to do that, but I'm not interested in the aggressive outlay, and I'm going to walk away from this. And if you would like to interact with me on a more positive growth note and bring happiness into this room, I'm in. You know, I'm being a little corny with my words, but I want to give you a bunch of feely words so you can start to see that you're reaching inside yourself to know what it is you wish to experience, and then you're just speaking that truth. And that truth is what it is you're experiencing and or wish to experience. And that's where the natural outcome is a type of boundary. It says, this is me. And me is a definition of you. So if you want to call that a boundary, that's fine. And on Thursday, during my live, I'm going to talk about this whole concept of a boundary between you and me, and how that is really perpetuating the idea that we are absolutely separate. And as we know, we're not separate, ultimately. In this physical plane, we see things as separate, but that's the greatest illusion. And our concept of boundaries plays into that, but also comes from that, right? And so it's understandable. It's understandable, and I think that it's a concept that for those of us who are healers and teachers, we can use to help others understand. But when you really want to understand life, and you really want to master yourself or your own life, and you want to live in true freedom and happiness, you must start within. Don't think about others and how you're going to tell them what to do and how you're going to set boundaries for them so they stay over here or do this or don't do that for you. Because that's a wild goose chase. Just stay inside yourself. It's you want to take care of. It's you and the experience you wish to have that you're creating here. You're not going to change another human being. I think we all know that. Anyway, food for thought. So everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I cannot tell you how much it means to me to have each and every one of you here. If you have questions, please post them. I will answer them as I did today to the best of my experience. And give you some food for thought. So think about the natural outpouring of you standing true to the experience you have, and how that's a very natural experience of you, separate from the experience that the other person wants to have, but it's at that point that we can then start to merge. Note C, will never be note E. Note E will never be note C. Together, played at the same time, they make a beautiful sound. But even in that beautiful sound that they share, note C will always be note C, and note E will always be note E. There's no boundary that one has to draw between the other. It's that they each have their own sound. And it is that that brings unity and harmony to the table. So may each of you find your sound and feel very good in allowing it to just be who you are, what you are, and let it create the experience you wish to have. Thank you for joining me. I look so forward to seeing you again. I'll be back on Thursday and talk with you then. I look forward to your questions and comments.